Hey, hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom, and we are doing some on-air coaching today with one of my fabulous Activate students, Cassidy LaMarsh. Welcome, Cassidy.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So pumped that you're here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So my history and background is in network marketing and direct sales. And so I've created a business around teaching direct sellers how to use Pinterest for their business, how to get leads effortlessly and use Pinterest to do that.
Sounds like we have a very similar path.
Yes, we do.
I love it. Okay. So this time is yours. You know, this is your coaching session. So what's like the number one thing you want to get out of today?
Well, it's funny because over the last few weeks, watching all the different coaching sessions, I was like, oh, if this is my week, this is what I would ask. And then all of a sudden in the last week, I've really kind of like hit a roadblock and I'm like, now it's my turn and I don't know what to ask. And so I've spent a lot of time trying to kind of like think about what I need or what I'm looking for help with. And honestly, I think that what I really need some help with is mindset. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that that's not broad for today,
No.
but I think that I'm struggling because I know that I'm having trouble with mindset. And so, you feel like, let's say you're feeling overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, well, that's a mindset issue,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine, except that that doesn't make me stop feeling overwhelmed. Do you know what
Totally.
I mean? And
Yeah.
so I don't know, I kind of figured maybe that was something that you could help with today because
Yeah.
it seems to be something that's really holding me back. So
Well, you're not the only one. So let me tell you, Tony Robbins says that success is 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. And that's why in Activate, like I'm giving you the mechanics, right? Like I'm giving you all the strategies, the tools, the systems, everything. But we talk mindset too. So like, were you on our call yesterday where we talked about the law of the lid?
no,
Okay, go back
no,
and
and I
watch that
have it to
recording.
watch.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
watch the
sure.
recording because we're talking leadership and John Maxwell's law of the lid. So that's going to be really helpful. But tell me specifically, like, what's going on with your head? Like, what is the thing that you feel like is keeping you stuck or holding you back?
I think the biggest thing is that I have this thing where I feel like I'm really, really good in the mechanics portion. Like I feel like I've put together a really great course. I've had amazing feedback on it. I feel like what I can do behind the scenes is where my strength really lies.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I get in front of people and it's almost to my detriment. Like I feel like being my authentic self is what's actually causing me to be in a place where I'm not getting my sales. Like, I'll give you an example. So, for one of the things that I did last week was a training for somebody, and I think you and I talked about it. But I, at the end, in my "What do you do next?" I had 3 steps, and one of those steps was a paid step. And so, for my like genuine, authentic self, I was like, "Give these people a promo. It's gonna help them. It's gonna make them get somewhere in their
Yeah,
business. Like, do this because it's helping them."
totally.
Except that then afterwards, everybody's like, whoa, dude, you did what? You put a paid thing in your training? And so it's funny because as soon as I realized that, I was like, it's so true. Of course you shouldn't do that. But in my genuine, authentic self, honestly, the only thing I was thinking was give these people everything you can to help them get to the next phase. And so I kind of feel like it's me that's really like making my business stumble. And that's a mindset thing, I know, but it's a genuine feeling that I have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, with you offering a paid training when you're doing like a free, like at the end of your free training, that's fine, dude. Like it was just a suggestion that was made as if you're doing this for someone else's group, it might not be the best idea, but I love that you went and you did the training and you had something to offer. Like that's freaking awesome. So I think you need to just celebrate the fact that you went out and you did that and you put yourself out there, not the fact that, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Cause you're going to have so many of those thing like that's just going to happen in business where you're like that was great but I really sucked at this, or that was awesome but I should have done it so differently. And just think of it, instead of like getting down on yourself or being hard at yourself, just ask yourself, what did I learn, or what could I change moving forward, or what's good about this. And so
Okay.
it sounds like right now you kind of have a story going on in your head. What do you think that story is?
Well, I think it's me that holds it back. Like that being the face of my company is stalling it out. Do you like and it that is definitely the story. And
That's
so
your
I guess that's where
story.
I'm having yeah, and I guess I'm just having trouble because um I feel like I have so much to offer, but I don't know how to offer it in a way that other people are receptive to it. Does that make sense? Like,
Well, if you think and you believe that you being the face of your company is holding you back, do you think other people are going to be receptive of what it is that you have to offer in working with you? If that's like truly what you believe.
oh, well, probably not. I mean, I'm sure it gives off a vibe, you know,
Yeah.
but it's funny because I also genuinely believe, like truly believe that I have something so valuable. And so that like that's the other half of the story. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's not that I don't think that I do. I really, really do. It's that
Yeah.
I feel like I can't wrap my head around how to present it in a way that people want to accept or want to engage with, I guess.
Yeah. So what might help you is doing some journaling. So we did this in our the Infinite Growth Challenge that we did. Were you part of that? That was
Yeah, I think I did follow that.
yeah. So write out that limiting belief. What is it that keeping you stuck? And then cross it out and write out the truth. So I remember, gosh, I was at either Date with Destiny or Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins. And he was like, what is this limiting belief? And he was like, no, what's the truth? Like, what's the real truth? And then he was like, what would God say about this belief? Like, what would he say about your situation? Like, just having that complete and different perspective of someone who loves you unconditionally, what would they say?
I really don't know,
What do you
honestly.
think?
Like, I mean, well, I think everybody else believes in me too, you know, like
Yeah,
I do. And I don't think that I would have had this product in this business if it wasn't supposed to be, you know, like I definitely think that I was guided to that, if that makes
totally.
sense.
Yeah.
So now it's just getting past the part where I feel like I'm stalled, you know, or feel like I'm just not, I don't know, the me part of it, I guess, you know.
So putting yourself in your business makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, it
Like you,
totally does.
why?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think that I don't like, I'm a people pleaser through and through. And so that's
Mhm.
something I'm trying really hard to fix. But like I'm not taking criticism or that sort of thing. Like, I just want to help people behind the scenes, I guess, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like,
So
I don't like being the center of attention, good or bad.
yeah. So part of that's leadership too, and it's literally just having a growth mindset. So if you are the face of your company, are you going to be able to transform lives by you just being you, of being who you are, of having that service heart? Because that's who you are, right?
Yes, totally. It really is, you know,
That,
and that's why I think that I struggle is because everything is coming from a really like serving place, I
yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you trip and you stumble over these things that you're like, I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done it this way, or this is how it's coming across when it's not what the intention was. And I really struggle with that.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is knowing your intentions are always good. You're going to have times in your business, and I'm telling you now, you just had one where something might be misinterpreted or you might receive criticism. And I'll tell you, if you're not getting criticism, then you're not reaching enough people and you're not serving enough people. And so it's actually one of those things like when someone told me the first time they got criticism, they were so down. And I was like, congratulations. You are on your way to making it. Like the first time you get it, it hurts and it sucks. Like, cause I'm the exact same way. Like, I just want to help people. I want them to be happy. I want them to love what I'm putting out there. But at the end of the day, if you're going to reach millions of people with your message, which I know you could, how out of a million people do you think everyone is going to love you, adore you, and want to do business with you?
Oh no, definitely not.
Right. And so the more you grow, the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to get that negative feedback. But you have to reframe it and you have to look at it differently. So I remember the first couple times I got like a negative review on something, I was just like heartbroken. I was like, oh my gosh, they hate me. What did I do? And I remember I actually went to Amazon and I looked at some of my mentors' books and actually read some of their negative reviews. And it made me feel so much better because I'm like, these are people that have seriously transformed my life in so many ways, and they have haters, and they have a lot of them. And that just means that they're actually serving people and putting themselves out there and really making an impact and changing lives. And the more you do that, the more you put yourself out there, the more criticism and crap you're going to get. And so you just have to reframe it and think about it differently, of celebrate it. Like, ooh, that happened. I mean, one, ask yourself, did I do something that I could learn from or could I change? But then
Right.
realize that, like, I'm reaching enough people to where I am getting a little bit of that criticism.
It makes sense for sure. And it's nice to know that you can be a little bit soft and still push through it, because sometimes, you do wonder, like, does anybody else care that there's criticism, or is it just
Heck
me,
yeah. No, you're not the only one. Dude, like I think I might have cried like the first time that happened. I was just like, what
Okay.
did I do? I mean, this is something that I don't think people talk about enough of the like so you said you don't want to put yourself out there, you don't want to be in front of people, you don't want to be seen. That was me. Like when I was in high school and like just growing up, I was not the person who would raise my hand in class. Like if the teacher called on me, I'd be like, oh crap. Like
Yes.
literally. It's so funny when I see my son TJ raise his hand now. I'm like, yes, we have one in the family. Because my husband was just like me. Like both of us just kind of wanted to like stay under the radar and like hide and just do our thing. And I remember like giving a speech or whatever, like anxiety attack, like crazy. Like I did not want to stand up in front of my peers and just like what would happen. I don't know, the judgment or what they would say or whatever. And I remember like the first couple times I gave a speech, I had to write down word for word what I would say and print it out. And I literally just read it. And I was just like looking down. I wouldn't even look up. Like I was so nervous and I just hated it. Even
Oh,
shoot, like being on an elevator pitch when I was in LA, I was having like
yeah.
anxiety and I was like, I'm pregnant. I probably can't take CBD right now. You're just gonna have to suck it up. And like, it was one of those things where I was having to put myself out there and be in front of people, right? To potentially millions
Right.
of people. And that was scary, like there's a lot of what would happen, criticism, what are people going to say? But at the end of the day, when you have a bigger mission, it's more than you. It's bigger than you. If you want
Right.
to serve in that epic way that you do, you have to just get over it and know that
Okay.
you're not alone. You're not like I deal with it. I know so many people that deal with it. My friend Christina, she was speaking on stage at the event that I was at, and she was nervous and she was like, I don't like speaking, but when you see her on stage, she looks like a natural and she's like a friggin' rock star and she's amazing. That doesn't mean she loves doing it. She was nervous. It's just most of us
So
put
you
on a
don't.
brave face. We
Okay.
try to act like we're not. And I just like, I literally tell myself, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. I'm not nervous, I'm excited. And then I just pray. I'm like, God, use whatever words come out of my mouth, have it glorify you. Like, have this be not about me. Have this be completely your message, whatever it is that you want to use speaking through me.
That's an interesting idea for sure.
Takes the pressure off,
It's good.
dude.
Yeah. Well, and it's good to know because, I really did wonder, because not everybody is good at everything, right? And so I was really starting to question, like, maybe this is one of those places in my business where it is smart to outsource, because maybe it's a real thing that you could do more damage than good if it's not your area, kind of thing. But if lots of other people, successful people, are having the same kind of challenges, or did have the same challenges, then it makes more sense that it's okay, just keep going.
Just keep going. Like if it scares you, putting yourself out there, do it. Like do the thing that scares you and makes you a little bit uncomfortable.
Okay, I can do that.
What scares you?
Oh, being in front of people.
How so? Well, you're
Just the
doing that right now. Like you're on the podcast
Yeah,
and there's
yeah,
probably thousands of
absolutely.
people that are going to listen to this, which like I applaud you
Right.
for that. I applaud you for that. So I know that's something that's a little bit uncomfortable. What else can you do?
Um, Well, I'll keep going live in my group. Like,
Yeah.
it's usually just me chatting, and I will definitely, I had that first training session, like I said, that I put on for a team, and so I have another girl lined up, and I've been hesitating to schedule that training, but I'll do that for sure, probably
Do
as soon as we
that.
get off the call, because I mean, if somebody takes something out of it, then it's totally worth putting myself out there. Even if
Heck
every
yeah.
other person criticizes it, if one person gets something out of it, then it's then it's worth it to me, I guess. So
For sure.
I'll try and definitely keep that more in mind. I think that,
Yeah.
if one person walks away with something, then you've accomplished your job. So
Totally. Like literally just think about who's that one person that needs to hear my message today and talk to that one person. Don't think like this is going to be in front of hundreds of people or whatever. Like that'll that's one way to get overwhelmed. Just be like, who is the one person who really needs to hear what I have to share today? Just talk to them.
okay, that's a really interesting perspective, because that's
Write that
easy, right?
down.
One on
Write that
one is
down.
easy.
Like, yeah, easy
I
is
had my notebook
good.
and I was like, I'll go back through it after because I don't want to miss anything.
Totally.
I do have one more question,
Yeah.
and something that I'm having a bit of a hard time with also is a little bit more mechanic side of things. And so, um, like for example, pricing my course. So when I first started Activate, I decided, you know what, this is worth way more than what I'm asking. And so one of the things I did right away was I upped my price.
Yeah.
But I'm having some conflict with that because I don't want to price it out of people's reach. And I totally get that if there's value in it, people will find a way, right? I'm a perfect example of that with Activate. I knew that I needed it, and so I found a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling because I don't want people, like, why do they have to be where I was, where it was like a do or die, a kind of like last, your Hail Mary before you jump in. And so I'm struggling because I don't want people to feel like that before they dive in. But on the other hand, I also don't want it to be so inexpensive that nobody commits, because then you're not going to see the success either. And so I'm struggling to find the balance between like remembering who I want to serve and who I want to help without making it too far out of their reach. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm happy to sell it for as happy to sell it for $97 as I am to sell it for $147. So where do you find that, like, these are my people and I want them to succeed and I want to be accessible to them without going all that way to like I'm only going to be a Hail Mary for a lot of people.
Well,
Does
you
that
want to
make
have,
sense?
yeah, for sure. You want to have different levels where people can work with you. So, like, if you look at my business, we have free content. Our podcast, our blog, like, we have free content up the wazoo that people can check out. It's hard to give them the transformation that I want to just because it's kind of scattered all over the place. Like when you invest in a course, it's A to Z, like step by step by
Right.
step, like the exact strategy. So for people that want that, we have that. And we have, Pin with Purpose is at this point $397, but then we offer payment plans. So for people who can't afford the $397, we do have those payment plans. I'll tell you though, it makes it more accessible for people, but you're also going to get more people default on payments, unfortunately.
Okay.
And you're going to like the cheap as hard as this is, the cheaper the price point, the more customer service complaints you're going to get, the more refunds you're going to
Right.
get. So like it was so crazy to see in my fitness business, like people asking for a refund on a $9 ebook. Like
Oh, no way.
yes, yes. And it just blew my mind. And like that ebook had so much value in it. And I was like, really? Really? But like it's like the cheaper the price point, the more headaches a lot of times you tend to have. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that you're going to have more of those issues and you're not attracting the people who really want that transformation. So we have the course $397 or whatever the payment plan is, like 87 times 5, or I don't know. Like that could be a stretch for some people, right? And so that gets
Right.
them in the door where we can give them that transformation and teach them how to get more leads with Pinterest, right? But then we have Activate, which is a stretch, but it's doable. Like you figured out a way to make it happen. And we price it where it is because I want people that are freaking committed. Like when you invest as much as you did to be in this program, how much skin do you have in the game right now?
Oh, all the skin.
All
You
the
have all
skin.
the skin
And
in
you're
the game.
showing up. Like you're showing up and you're doing the work. If we charged $100 for this program, would you show up in the same way?
Oh no, I would never have come and poured my heart and soul out on a public
Right.
podcast,
It
right? I have too much to lose. I have to acknowledge it head on and face it exactly
yeah.
as it is. So,
So you
Yeah.
can see like when you start to charge your prices, you're going to attract a different kind of person, and you're going to be able to facilitate them with that transformation. So you don't want to make it like, you do want to have a course that maybe is easily accessible at that lower price point, right? And offer a payment plan. But you also want to have people that want to take the next step with you, and you have that higher level program. You might not have it right this second, which is fine. Like, we didn't have Activate when I first started my business. First, it was like Pin with Purpose, let's do this, and private coaching. But eventually, you're going to want to have something where there are going to be people who want to work with you for who you are and the value that you've added to their life, and they're going to want to go deeper with you. And for those people, you can charge a higher price point, and they're going to be invested, and you're going to be able to provide them that awesome transformation.
Okay.
Does that make
Makes
sense?
sense for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does. And I've worked on, since joining Activate, I started a baby offer. So I'm
Cool.
kind of pumped about
Yeah.
that, which definitely offers that like really easily accessible price point to kind of jump into something at least.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And that makes, like, now that you explain it that way, having different things definitely makes sense for sure. So
Yeah.
that's helpful. Um, yeah, I don't know. And I guess I'm just a little bit unsure of what my kind of next steps are. Like, um, it's uh, it's overwhelming because it's all so new, I think,
Yeah.
and so I'm just kind of trying to push through, and we're going for done rather than perfect, and kind of moving back and tweaking. So it's kind of this like forward and backward, 2 steps forward, 6 steps back kind of
Yeah.
thing, but progress, right? Slow progress. And so think I think I'm ready for a webinar. And so I was hoping that that training that I created and that I'm going to keep doing for a little bit was kind of my practice round, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Um, and so if you launch a webinar and you don't have a lot of people, I assume you just keep going. Is that
If
is
you
that
have
true?
0 people on, I would still do the webinar and just practice. If you
And so
have
do you
one,
and you
yeah,
still
like
record it?
if you have one, I would record it, and then you can go back and watch it, and someone might ask you for the replay. Maybe they couldn't get on live, but they want the replay. If you have one
Okay.
person on, serve that one person really, really well.
Okay.
Like, just consider it
Cool.
practice in the beginning. Like, you're going to want to practice. And then after you've done it like 100 times, like I have, you'll be able to do it like in your sleep, like, but in the beginning, yeah, like do it for nobody if no one shows up, but you're going to like follow the steps that we have of how to get people onto your webinar. I hear the kiddos running
Right.
around.
Okay. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, this is mom life
It's
for
so
sure.
cold.
It is mom life. It's so funny. But yeah, I mean, if you follow the steps that we have in our process street for how to host a webinar, you're going to get people on.
Okay. And so when you start out a webinar, because you said you don't evergreen them until you know that you have a good one,
Yep.
do you change it every time, or do you just tweak it based on the feedback that you get?
Tweak it. And
Okay.
so, for example, I hosted a webinar. It was good. We had a really good show up ratio. The only problem was we had the majority of people purchased after the webinar, and you want to have 50% buy live and 50% with the follow up sequence. And so, by having like
Oh,
0 people buy live, I was like, oh crap, I have to offer an on the webinar bonus. And so that was the only change that I made, was just add that one bonus. I didn't change everything. It was literally that one tweak.
okay. And is that you want those that conversion, the 50% on live, just because you don't want to lose people? Is that why?
Not that you
Like, is
want
it
to
that they'll
lose
leave and then
people,
not
but it's
buy,
like,
or
yeah, I mean, it's having that sense of urgency.
okay,
Like, have them take action in the moment.
okay. So definitely some sort of bonus that is on the webinar live.
Yep. Yep. So it's
Okay,
like, so we do, I mean, you have my webinar slides, and you'll be able to watch the video where I walk you through like step by step by step how I do it and why I do it. So on the
right.
last slide, it's like, all right, here's the link where you can go buy. We have 15 minutes of Q&A. And so they have 15 minutes, and like, all right, you have 15 minutes to actually purchase, make your decision to get access to this specific bonus. And this, like, after the 15 minutes is up, the bonus expires.
Okay. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I'll keep working on that then. And so it is okay to have a similar webinar slide series to what you're offering in your training. Maybe just not quite as much how. Is that right?
Yeah, so you want it to be a lot of the what and the why, and you can teach some of the how, but you can't, I mean, in an hour-long webinar, you can't teach all of the how that they need, right? It's just not
No.
possible. And so just letting them know, like, this is as much as I'm able to teach you today. The rest of it, you're going to be able to find within the course.
Okay.
They should still leave the webinar thinking, I learned something and I got value out of that. And it's not just like you sold them on something, you know?
Yeah, okay, that's good because I find it super, like, as a viewer, when you sit down and you watch a webinar and you're just like, you gave me nothing, that I find that so frustrating and it feels like such a waste of my time that I'm
Yeah.
just mostly irritated and I don't
Yeah.
want to leave my people feeling that way, right?
Exactly.
But it makes sense when you're teaching what you can in that time
I
without,
know there are people that are webinar experts that say don't teach, only like have the aspiration and like the bigger picture and all that stuff. And I just like, if I were on a webinar and that's what they gave me and I spent an hour of my time and it was just like a whole bunch of fluff, I would be pissed. And I don't
yeah,
want someone leaving a webinar after spending an hour with me feeling that way. I want them feeling empowered, even if they didn't buy, which is fine. Like, I
yes,
still want them
yes,
feeling that they could take some form of action and they learn something. And so, will it convert as well as what the gurus are saying? Of, I don't know. Ours converts really well, and we've done hundreds of thousands of dollars from our evergreen webinar and our live webinars. So I'm cool with it. Um, I always think about like what do I want, what how would I want to feel, and then how do I want my people to feel?
right. Yes, exactly. Okay, that's good. That vibes way more with what, kind of what I'm hoping to do. So
For sure.
it's really nice to know that you can, offer and serve and help and still earn an income. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I don't want it to have to be one or the other because
No.
that doesn't fill my bucket at all. So,
Doesn't have to be.
no.
Does not have to be.
Awesome. Do you have any other advice, like just kind of
Let's look at personal
general advice?
development. What are you doing for your personal development right now? Because I want to make sure you're doing the right kind of personal development for what you're going through.
Well, that's a good question. I honestly
Yeah.
don't know how to answer that. I would say, like, I mean, I like to read. I do as much reading as I can. Typically business books, I guess, much more than
So
typically
I
business
want
books.
you to switch and I want you to do 80% mindset of pouring into your soul and growing as a human as opposed to business. That can be like
Okay.
20%. So it's the 80-20 rule. I don't want you doing 80% business because that contributes to the feeling overwhelmed and not enough. And I want you building up that
Okay.
self-esteem and that confidence. So I'm looking at crap, I don't have my whole Audible list here. A good one for you, Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer is really good. Joel
Okay.
Osteen has one too about confidence, and I cannot think of it off the top of my head. Um, in Activate this month, we're reading Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi. That one is
That's a
really
good one
good.
too.
Yeah. Um, let me look in my podcasts as well. The Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast, Ed Milet Show, Elevation Church, Life Church, da, 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 da. The Brendan Show, Brendan Burchard, The Shalene Show with Shalene Johnson, the John Maxwell Leadership Podcast, the Mind Your Business Podcast,
I do listen to that one.
the School of Greatness. I think those are some really good ones for you to start with, and those are way less marketing how-to tactical and more like filling up your soul.
Okay.
I think if you
Start
make that
focusing
one
there a little
switch,
more.
literally, I want you to really take this to heart and do the 80-20. 80%
Okay.
like fill up your soul, take care of your spirit. 20% can be business and marketing. But you're getting so
Okay.
much business and marketing within Activate that you don't need that much more. Like
I
if
was
you
gonna
do,
say it's
yeah,
a lot.
if you do more, it's going to contribute to that overwhelmed feeling. You really don't need that.
Okay. No, that's good. Like I never honestly I didn't really think about the personal development side of it as being,
Yeah.
you know, you kind of just focus so hard on your business that you forget a little bit that there's other aspects, you know.
The
So,
business will only grow as much as you grow as a person, right?
oh, I feel like I've grown so much since Activate in the last 2 months. I feel like it's off the
That's
charts.
amazing. And that makes my heart so
Yeah,
happy. And there's so much left still.
I know it's crazy.
Like, I just
It's
can't wait to see where
crazy
you're
how
going to
much
be
there is.
at the end of the 6 months, a year from now, 2 years from now, by you really stepping into your power and knowing that you are so, so powerful and you have so much to offer. And your students are so lucky to get to work with you. And you're going to change thousands of lives by just being yourself and putting your message out there and serving.
Okay, let's do it.
Cool.
It's
Anything
I
that,
really appreciate it. I really
yeah,
do because I was wondering if it was just a mindset issue or if I was actually interfering with the success of the business. And so it's really nice to have the kind of regroup and reset and then forward movement, I guess. So
for sure.
appreciate it.
Well, where can everyone connect with you?
Oh, they can connect with me. My favorite place to send people is to my freebie, which is on my website at freshtaketraining.com. There's this really pretty picture right in the top right hand corner. It says download your free ebook. Just click the I want it button and we'll send it over. It's full of value and I know it will make a huge impact on the overall success for network marketers. So definitely find me there.
Amazing. I'm so proud of you and just how far you've
Thank you.
come. And the best is yet to come.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Really appreciate it.